say it passes. The stewards are going to let it go. Yeah, the stewards are going to let it go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pitstop podcast. We've got more guests again today. I say guests with an S again.
2 guests sat in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Monger and Johnny Herbert. Let's go!
Oh, yeah.
This is huge. And we've got a couple of people in the audience.
We better start positive. Lift the lid.
Out of context. Boys, how are we doing today? All good?
Yeah, doing well.
Doing pretty okay. I've had a good day.
What happened at Williams? What were you just talking about?
We were filming a first guest on our podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so we haven't had any guests on our podcast yet. So
Yeah, what's the podcast called?
Their podcast is called Lift
that
the
was
Lid.
good. So we sort of went basically sort of around the old cars that they've sort of got there in their little museum, and then we had a little chat with James Vowles, which was lovely. So it was really nice. Yeah, it was really good. So it's the first time we've had a
How did you find
a
it?
guest.
do you know what? Me and Johnny have kind of got used to it just being us two, haven't we? But it was nice to throw someone in the mix and to have a proper
James was good,
chat.
actually. He was
He was on good form.
So
it was nice to find out about everything that's going on with Williams, really, because it's a big team. Isn't it?
Yeah. How often do you see each other in person?
Not that often, do we?
Thankfully.
There's no need for that, is there? Come on, mate.
Sorry.
That's not what he says off camera. He misses me.
You're
Good night,
very,
text
you're
and all.
very sensitive.
So did you find it weird doing it? Do you find it weird doing pods in person compared to like
We
virtual?
prefer it, I think.
Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah.
It's surprising. It's not that bad when we do it sort of, 100 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
As we are thereabouts. But it's nice to do it, together, because I think it's much more natural. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Much
it flows
easier.
better.
Yeah.
Let's get into that. Why has this setup happened? Why you two together? What's the relationship? How did it come about?
So to be fair, it started because I had a big old shunt.
Did you?
Yeah, just a little one, mate.
Oh, right.
I know you've had a crash as well, but
it wasn't as big as yours.
Yeah. So I had a crash when I was 17, racing in F4, lost both my legs, and Johnny was one of the first people to come down to the hospital and see me whilst I was still in hospital, because he'd had a big crash before.
Yeah.
And you said, didn't you, that you thought it was important to come
Well,
in?
I knew how important it was when I had all my mates who were racing, as in Damon Hill and Perry McCarthy, etc., etc. So I knew how important it was to have that backup and support.
Yeah,
And
which
that's
was lovely.
why I made that effort, because I knew how bad it was.
Yeah,
I just
so for
wanted to
me,
be
I'd
there
never
for
met
that.
Johnny before my
No.
accident either, so he was like a complete stranger, but someone, ex-F1 driver, someone I looked up to.
Wow.
And then next thing you know, he's at the end of my hospital bed, sort of like, introducing himself, meeting the family, kind of saying
which was
hello.
nice. I'm glad I did it. It was really good.
Yeah,
That body.
and we just kind of stayed in touch off the back of that, really.
Yeah.
So that was our first introduction.
So that was what, 4 or 5 years ago, was it? Or?
Yeah, back in 2017, So about 6 years ago
5,
now.
6 years.
Cool.
Yeah, I know,
Blimey,
scary, huh?
time flies.
Flown by.
Yeah. So it's been nice with the relationship, and of course then he's been doing his Channel 4 as well.
Yeah, so
we've
we'd
seen
see each other around the
as well,
paddock,
so-
Johnny with Sky, being
so it's
Channel
good.
4.
Yeah.
So it's good from that point of view. So, and we've been through a similar situation through our racing. So
Yeah, I think we can just relate,
So you can relate
to
to-
coming
to
back
things.
from injuries and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So we just bonded over that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely
Which is
want to
cool.
get into that, but there's also really good banter between you guys, which I really like. Like
Yeah.
when you were saying about, we obviously have a fastest lap leaderboard here, and you're both on it. So
You've
were
been
both-
eyeing it up the whole
Yeah,
time.
you
Yeah,
been
I
on
was
the
gonna
sim
say.
today already?
we have. Pardon?
You went on the sim today already?
Yeah, we did.
No.
Oh, come on, Johnny. Confidence. You've got to back yourself, mate.
happened?
Got to back yourself.
I don't want to say.
Oh, yes, you do. That's a lie. We went on the
Get in
simulators
there.
at Williams. No one was trying, were they, Johnny? Come on. We weren't trying. Were you trying?
Yes.
We also went on the simulator.
We did. I was trying as hard as I could when I was there.
Me and Fabs entered that professional esports race day there. They got us in. We've never used it before. And it's got commentary over it. And all
It's
it is
hilarious.
there's Fabs again.
It was all live streamed, 20 other people, and some of them were actually proper esports,
Yeah, they were.
pro
They were the
esports
pros.
drivers,
Right,
yeah.
okay,
And then
yes.
there's us two, idiots.
They're
was
good,
funny.
aren't they?
They are
Yeah,
good.
it's very good.
Ridiculously good.
It's a
yes.
different kettle of fish. I
It's
think
total,
we want to
yeah.
get an esports driver probably on the pod at some point, just
They'll
to
just go top.
set
Yeah,
a
they've
lap.
just
Yeah,
gonna
just don't.
probably
Just
go
take the
top.
pedals off.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of unhappy
steering wheel
actual
off.
racing
They're half hanging off
drivers,
already.
you know.
Yeah.
If you've got an F1 driver that's not top, they're gonna have the hump. Although that might get more F1 drivers to
That's
come on your
true.
podcast. Maybe that's the
That's what I
incentive.
want. That's what we want.
What's that?
A non.
Yeah, we're not an F1 driver.
No.
I just don't want to be bottom anymore, so, you know.
Well,
Is that why you got us
I am
here?
at the moment. I am.
I don't want to be bottom anymore, so I brought these two along.
For fuck's sake.
Well, especially Johnny, to be honest.
Well, I am bottom at the moment. I can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. I can
Yeah,
see.
we arranged
I
them
like
in.
that. I like that for you
Arrange them in
boys. I
what
like
He
that.
arranged them in
Talent order.
specific order, yeah. But no, we're excited for that, man. It's a big
Well,
part of the pod that we
I
love
hope
doing.
you don't mind, and I think Billy will agree. We won't leave until we're at the top. We could be here for days.
A few people have said
I've cleared
that
my
before,
calendar. Cleared it.
Well, fellas, let's go back to the beginning. It's weird having two people on because normally you can really dive into just one person's
Yeah.
like history and how they started. But I mean, Johnny, let's start with you. What what was it like? Kind of, you know, I speak to people and there's the karting, and then they go through the European leagues and stuff, and then it's like F4, F3, F2. Was it the same back
Yeah.
when you were doing it?
Pretty much, yeah. Karting when I was 10. So I was 10, I think it was.
Did you start when you were 10?
Yeah, I was too
See,
young.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I was.
It's
Yeah.
quite, because that's not young.
I was
is
10
it?
and a half, actually. I was 10
Yeah,
and a
some
half.
start a lot younger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I started a lot
you
younger.
had to be 12. So I got banned when I was 11.
Great
and
start.
then, I started again when I was 12. So so I started underage, but 12 was as young as you could be then. So
Wow.
so that's where it sort of all sort of started. So there was always that darker side to me very early on. I would do
breaker,
anything,
yeah.
anything to race. But yeah, that was down to my father. And of course, it's in an era that how it happened was my uncles raced at the same track in Tilbury. Just by the docks, and I had my birth certificate, but we never took the birth certificate because obviously it was not telling them
Just tell them your
the
actual age rather than the age you
yes,
wanted
exactly.
to be.
So they kept asking my father, "Can we have the birth certificate?" He said, "Well, yes, it's in the car. Yeah, sorry, I'll bring it over a little bit later on." So he kept on doing that. So basically, my uncles who raced at the same time, my father forged the signatures that they had collected and then put it onto my race license.
Genius.
So that's
Genius.
how we did. Of course, today you couldn't do that. It'd be impossible to do, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So it was just different type of karting. Yeah, is where it all starts, isn't it? Really for everybody. More
We
or
do
less.
hear, we had a karter on, and we do hear some stories about karting even now, where some people have like dodgy engines, and karting can be
Really?
really
No.
dodgy. Yeah, but how dodgy was it back when you were karting? Do you remember anything?
Well, I do remember there was the Paris-Bercy race that sort of Ayrton went and Alain went. You ever heard of the Bercy kart thing? It was at the end of the year.
I know the
in
drivers, but not
Paris.
the actual.
Yes,
not
the
heard of
event.
it
So it
either,
was
boys,
just a
don't
sort of
worry.
end of the year.
Thank God you're in.
Yeah. And it was Philippe Streff. It was done for Philippe Streff because he had a big crash in Brazil, in Rio. Broke his neck, was a quadriplegic. So it was all ways of generating some money for him. So as I said, Ayrton went, Alain went, Damon Hill went, Michael Schumacher went a little bit later. But there was one guy who turned up with his own engines and his own sprockets
Okay.
to try and get an advantage. Now, who do you think that could have been?
You.
No. No, Billy.
No idea then.
Huh? His son is racing.
What, current F1?
Yeah. Right at the front.
Oh, God.
Right at the front.
Max,
Jos.
Jos Verstappen.
It was Jos.
Yeah.
A classic Jos Verstappen. That's a way.
So he cleaned
goes.
up?
Well, no, he didn't. No, he didn't even clean up. No, exactly. But he would have done anything to cheat and to try and win. That was Jos. So yeah.
Calling out the big
and he
dogs
sort of
already.
changed the whole thing.
All right, 10 minutes in, fella.
I'm going to have a sip of my drink and sit back.
So yeah, there you go. That was Jos. Jos in his karting days.
I suppose your story was fairly the same, Billy.
Yeah, Jos Verstappen was cheating when I was I mean, I started a lot younger than Johnny, actually. I started when I was 6.
Yeah.
And I was
Blimey,
that slow.
6 years old?
Yeah, 6 years old. My
That
dad bought me
always-
that go-kart when I was 2, and you're not meant to drive it until like you're 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And the guy he bought it off, I remember he always tells me the story, he went like, basically he was putting it in the back of the van. He said, "Oh, who's it for?" He said, "Oh, it's for my son. He's in the front of the van." So the guy's like pushing this cart towards the van, looks in, and then has to do like a bit of a double take. Like, he can't drive that. They have to be like 7, 8 years old. So my dad was fairly keen to get me behind the wheel because he raced when he was younger as well.
Right.
And he got me into it. And when I started when I was 6, I started at a track near me in Croydon. And it was basically a circle with a little chicane in it. And my dad used to run around the track in front of me, and he's not exactly Mo Farah. So, I was like crawling around in this go-kart, and it just kind of spiraled from there, really.
Yeah, British champion by the age of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know my stats and facts.
Cool.
Yeah, he's been reading them off all morning. Yeah.
No, I have done my research, and I've watched so much of both of you. And the one thing I watched that is just incredible is the documentary on you. That is, especially surrounding the comic relief stuff. It's unbelievable, and I wanted to make sure I got it across on the pod that like it's unbelievably inspirational. Like,
I appreciate that.
I think it's incredible. Would love to speak about the comic relief thing, especially. Like,
I wasn't going to say nothing, but I came in the living room last night. He was crying. He was crying on the
Tear in
sofa.
your eye.
genuinely, I was like,
it's good.
I was amazed
Is it one of them? You get the water and flick it out.
Oh, yeah. No, it's incredible, man. Like 140 miles of comic relief, and you were saying how that's like a challenge you wanted to put yourself through, and you wanted to prove to yourself you could do it or whatever. But how do you feel now after doing that? Do you feel like you want to do something else?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it definitely. I've always been competitive, and I think that comes through my racing side of things. And then, when I did the Comic Relief Challenge, it was just after COVID, and I just sort of like lost a lot of sponsorship during that period, and went from racing after my accident for 2 years on the trot to not having a seat for the year. And I was kind of sat at home. I don't know, like probably like a lot of people, and I knew I wasn't going to be racing. And my whole fitness routine revolved around being fit enough to drive a racing car. I didn't do fitness because I like doing, going to the gym. It was purely just to make sure I was fit enough so I could drive the car and not be at a disadvantage. So as soon as it was like, you're not going to be racing this year, like, you haven't got any money, it was like, right, just sat at home in COVID, eating what I want, getting in horrendous shape. I was in bad nick. And then one day I looked in the mirror, I was like, Bill, you need to sort yourself out, mate. You need to, So I started getting back into the fitness, like, aside from racing. And by the time I kind of got to the end of lockdown, I was probably in better shape than when I raced. So it kind of worked in a weird kind of way. Wow. And then Comic Relief got in touch with me actually and said, we'd like to maybe see if we could do something together. And they basically threw this idea of a sort of Ironman, challenge to me. And I was like, seems a bit far-fetched, to be honest. Don't think I'll be able to do that, boys. But equally at the same time, I went and spoke to my trainer afterwards, and he was like, probably this is the best time to go and try and do something like that, because I didn't have, like I say, I had no racing commitment. So all of a sudden I had loads of free time. So that's when I was like, right, yeah, let's do it.
3 million raised as well.
Yeah.
It's pretty unbelievable.
It blew my mind, that's for sure. Yeah, I didn't know really what to expect with that sort of thing, but yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised, put it that way.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, and it would set you up for like another challenge like that. Is there something else you look at or something you're planning on?
Yeah, there's a couple things in the pipeline. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say exactly what I think I could do, but I'd like to do something like when I did Comic Relief before. It was I just had to get it done, if you know what I mean. There was no time restrictions, but I like going against the clock. So maybe put a record onto something like that, and yeah, that would probably be my ideal sort of next target with that sort of thing.
Unreal.
What about you, Johnny? You doing any triathlons anytime soon, or?
Well, short ones.
Short ones. How short we talking?
10 metres.
Get in the bath, have a little swim up and down.
I could run around. Well, I can't even run around. I could hobble around a swimming pool, fall into the swimming pool, do a length or two, and then I'll do a bit of a bike ride. I suppose
Bit of a bike ride.
I'll do a bit of a bike ride. I don't know if that's in the right order, but it's not in the right order. It's swim to start with, then the bike, isn't it, or the run? Anyway, no.
No, yeah, same as me.
It's not
So
for me.
I haven't got any excuse. I really should do more exercise, but we don't. So we're always just so busy, aren't we?
Yeah, all the filming in it. And
We were chatting earlier about Miami, the race that just happened, and there was a bit of mixed reviews between you two. I was, Billy was sort of a bit apprehensive of talking about it, but what did you think of the whole, not just the race in general, but the bit leading up to it and everything else around it?
I'm not gonna lie. The whole build up to the race, the whole the driver entrances. I just found myself being sat at home thinking devalued the racing element and sort of bigged up the spectacle element too much. Like, it was a bit overhyped. So I was just kind of sat at home thinking, can we just like get these boys out of here so they can get in the cars and do what I want to watch them do, like what they're good at. So that was kind of my take on it. But you had a slightly different one, didn't you?
A slightly different take, yes. You were talking a load of nonsense.
Again, kind as ever, mate.
I don't mind them doing that type of thing as it presenting the drivers, because I think the main thing for me is a lot of people don't see the faces of the drivers, and that's an opportunity for that to happen. And I think for the show as a whole, I think it's a positive thing to use the drivers. That's what everybody there goes to see, effectively, and get those drivers' faces on the screen, around the circuit and around the world at the same time. And I know there was a little bit of negativity from the drivers because they were trying to get into their little zone before the race, but they would have got into the zone after it had all finished anyway. You know, they're sportsmen and they can switch things on and off so quickly. So from a show point of view, I think it's a positive thing, because I think we've got this sort of boom going on at the present time, and I think the way the world is in sports anyway, I think having that ability to see the drivers, the people that you get wowed with when you're watching them on TV, I think is a good thing. Could it be maybe tweaked slightly? Yes, potentially, but I think as a whole, I didn't mind it at all.
Do you think you would have enjoyed it when you were racing?
But
is that where it
he's
comes
a
from?
showman. That's what it is.
I know there
You
was a
wanna walk out.
reason why I made an effort, because I made an effort knowing that when I drove into Silverstone, for example, and I was driving around the circuit and I could see the fans that were there cheering me, Damon, Michael, whoever it may be, Ayrton, blah, 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 blah. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be doing the job.
Yeah.
And it's important that you put something back for them as well. So I was, whenever I went to do an autograph session, I was the one being dragged away at the end of it. I was the last one there because I knew how important that was. And it was giving them a little bit of my time during that day or that weekend or whatever it may be. And I think that's all we saw in Miami. It's just a little bit of time to give back to those fans who are sitting in the grandstand watching it on TV. So I don't see what really the problem is. If you look at it that way, then you can sort of go, oh yeah, okay. But of course, if you just sort of say, no, it's just me and I've got to get myself in the right frame of mind before the race, of course I can understand it.
Yeah.
But you have actually, I think, stepped back and sort of go, no, actually, it's important that I do give something back to those race fans.
I think we'll definitely...
He's guilt-tripped me there.
He's nailed it with that answer, to be honest. But it is a statement. It's a statement coming from, a driver, an ex-driver, because I think a lot of people think that, maybe it's only DTS fans, or, for instance, as lack of better words, but the newer fans, a newer generation of fans that only really care about that kind of stuff. So it's nice to hear it from you that you get down with it as well.
And you're right. It is a generational thing as well. And I think some older sort of fans don't like it. It's sort of this new razzmatazz. It's sort of this new American. It's American, and we don't like the way the Americans do it. But actually, there's a lot of good stuff that they do as well. So it's little ingredients that only make the whole show better. And if it makes the whole show better, it's only better for the drivers anyway. So I think as a whole, it's, as I said before, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of older fans that will be watching it as well, thinking it's amazing that they're getting to see more of the drivers. So you can see it from both ways.
Again, you can see it from both ways, but things can't just stand still. They can't be like they used to be. Things do evolve and they do change. If you're trying to get a new, younger generation in, well, do something actually will, catch their eye, and they go, yeah, wow, I haven't seen it before. Look, that's Lewis Hamilton or whatever it may be. It's a thing that I think it gives a much better feeling of being involved with it. And actually you're there and you can actually see them look into their eyes, for example. You can't really normally see them in a cockpit with a halo on it and everything else. You can't see them.
So true, isn't it? So true.
So it's just a little thing. It's just a little thing, and it can be tweaked.
So based off of that question alone, I mean, do you think that F1 now is in a much better place than it was than 10 years ago?
I think it's just in a different place. I think it's one of the things. Was it better then? Is it better now? I just think it's very, very different. The world is very, very different. When I started F1, there was no social media. The internet wasn't
Yeah.
invented.
While ago.
When I
While ago.
started, just had mobile phones. But the whole, what we're doing here, this did not happen.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist. But it's a good thing. It's good that you guys do this. It's lovely that we can sit here and chat to you and chat to everybody out there. But it's a whole part of different ingredients. Who's going to benefit from this? Yes, we will, but Formula One will, and the drivers will, and the teams will. So it's a win-win.
How do you both think Formula One over the next 5 years will change? Is there anything you look at and you're like, oh, well, that's going to happen, or that's going to happen, or? Because I know it's going like 2026, isn't it meant to be going pretty electric, like a lot more?
Yeah, there's going to be some more rule change coming up. I
But
mean, that stuff
you're
just
a lot more on the
happens.
inside, you guys. So I wonder whether you know anything. What's happening in the next?
Yeah, spill some beans, please, boys.
Spill some beans.
We need the exclusive.
To be honest, I think, apart from changing the regulations and stuff like that, it's just going to be, I think, more of what Johnny's already mentioned about, trying to make the whole show better. So I think that will be they'll be plugging lots of stuff like that, and the stuff like the driver intros will probably get fine-tuned a bit and stuff like that. But I can't really see, or maybe it's because, I don't want it to change, but I'm kind of in my head, I'm like, oh, it can't change too much more than they've already changed it. It feels like they've already done a lot with Formula One in the last few years. So it feels like if they carried on, eventually they're going to get to a point where it's unrecognisable in a lot of ways from the sport that a lot of people enjoyed before. But I think it will just be little fine-tuning things to what they've already got, to be honest. I can't see them doing anything drastic.
No. I think from the show point of view, no. I think that from the rules, of course, 2026, there's new fuels sort of coming on board as well. I think there will be the
Maybe another
electric side
team?
you mentioned. Oh, maybe a couple of other teams.
Maybe
as
a
well.
couple of
Again,
other teams. That's the
that'd be
only other
great.
thing.
That would be brilliant to see more cars on
We've
the
had a
grid.
talk about that before, haven't we? About a few more
Do you
cars
think
on
that's
the
what
grid.
it needs, like 2 more teams or something?
I think, a couple more teams on the grid, and I think you wouldn't really want any more than that, to be honest.
No.
I think
When
that would be a
I
good number.
started, there were 39 cars.
Wow.
39 cars
There was a
on track.
I think it was 30, or 40 or 39. I think it's 39. I think there was a pre-qualifying that was done 6 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and then I can't remember if it was like 6 of those got through, eight or 6 got through to then the sort of free practice, and then in qualifying, of course, it was 26 cars who got through. So there was a pre-qual. Now some of the teams, I have to say, were shocking. Were shocking. There was one, and I can't remember if it was the Life team. It was another team. It flew itself all the way to Australia, brand new team. It started the engine up, and that was it.
Well, it didn't go
That was
anywhere.
it. It never went out of the garage. That was it. So there was some really poor stuff. So it was good to get rid of all that horrible sort of silliness, because it was it was crazy that you had these teams that were just so bad. Now we've got a whole grid of damn good cars and good teams and good drivers and everything else. So adding to it,
A couple more of those.
yeah, it's a bit like the Andretti thing. And there was all this thing about, no, we don't need them. They're not going to add. I remember the team said they're not going to add anything to Formula One. You go, no, it could add a lot. One, it's American. Secondly, it's the Cadillac, which obviously is an important brand anyway. And it will only make the whole grid better for it. And it gives another 2 drivers a chance as well to actually be on the grid as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? With only having 20 cars on the grid, it's so hard to even break into Formula One. You've only got to look at like someone like Nyck de Vries, who's got into F1 this year, but he won F2 a few years ago, and there was no seat for him in Formula One. It's like when in the Championship and not getting promoted to the Premier League in football. It just doesn't really make sense because there's not enough seats on the grid, really.
Yeah.
So I think a couple more teams would
I
give a
think so.
few more young boys an opportunity.
And I think it
which
would
would
add
be
to the
nice.
whole, again, we're talking about sort of the whole thing and the whole profile of it. Well, it would add to the whole thing anyway.
It's
So,
interesting to hear you say about Nick, because I was speaking to some other drivers about him, and from what I've heard, all of the drivers and people that know him from karting genuinely can't believe that he's not performing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people have said that he's
I'm
like
surprised, I
very,
have to say.
very good, and it's not coming
No,
across.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised. It's just not happening, is it?
Is it the
and it's-
car?
And it's the mistakes that are coming in all the time.
I think
as
that's
well.
coming from probably his own frustration, isn't it?
It
Because I
is,
think
but-
realistically, when that driver pairing got announced, because I've raced Yuki Tsunoda, I raced him when I was in Formula 3 after my accident, and he's a good driver, but you saw Pierre have the upper hand on Yuki, and now you think when Nyck de Vries came into the team, I thought, okay, Nick's going to probably step into where Pierre was and probably have the slight edge on Yuki, but it's not been like that
especially
whatsoever.
after he stepped in for that one race last
Yes,
year.
exactly.
And it was like,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah, back in Monger.
Yeah, absolutely killed
and
it.
because of that, that's why he's in the cockpit now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
But
literally it, isn't
it's
it?
just not happening at all, which is I get confused sometimes why it doesn't. Now, is it just because he's moved up to the big league and the expectations and the pressure is something that obviously he can't control? I don't know, because it's the only thing
it's
I do.
hard to
If you
tell.
do it on talent, well, he's proven the talent.
One Formula 2, one Formula E, you know, he's won a lot of big
He's
championships.
won a lot of big championships. So I think over the crossover should be simple.
Formula E, I have heard, is very, because we do some stuff with the Formula E guys as well, and it is very different to Formula One
Sure.
Yeah,
in terms
sure.
of like the conditioning of your body. They don't have trackside physios,
No.
from what I hear. They train when they're at home. So
Yeah.
I think it's a lot less taxing on the body, and I guess there's something to be said for like the longevity of a season. You know, maybe he could just go out there and smash that first race that he done, but to be able to like be consistent throughout the year, I guess it's a lot harder.
Yeah, but it hasn't happened so far, has it? And that's the problem, because it's
Yeah.
sort of you could do maybe 2 races, but it's not. It's just a continual.
Yeah.
Well, I saw
Disappointment,
Nick over the
which is
winter before he
unbelievable.
started in F1. His pre-season looked intense from a training point of view.
Really?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
he's got Pierre Gasly's old trainer still. So, you know, Pierre was in wicked shape with him. So you would have thought, and I was from looking at their stuff on social media, that I don't think the fitness side of thing with Nyck de Vries is really a problem.
Not the issue, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't, maybe it's pressure, maybe just the car doesn't suit him, because that can generally be.
It can be.
I think if you got
can
helmet
happen.
Marco, like
Yeah,
Well, that's one of
lingering
those
over you,
phone
saying
calls
you've got
I
3
get
races, you
Well,
know what I mean?
again,
Just
there's
gonna.
that rumour about Daniel's had a seat fitting as well. So all that,
Yeah.
it's something. It's
I mean, is that all
something
rumours
extra
or what?
until-
I mean,
well, it's a funny thing to go and make a seat.
That is it,
Now
yeah.
for
If you're
Saudi. It does seem a little
getting
bit sort of
fitted up for a seat in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
There's a hint there, isn't there?
Yes, yes.
But then I
Very,
struggle
very
to
much a
understand that, because if Daniel did take an AlphaTauri seat,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was offered better seats before he went to go to Red Bull as a reserve
Yeah.
than AlphaTauri. So
Maybe he just wanted a break though. I feel like if it's
that's what you
Daniel
said,
Ricciardo, he was under it properly because Lando absolutely smashed him last year. So maybe he just needed a bit of a reset from the world of Formula One, and being that reserve driver at Red Bull for a few races, maybe he sat there going, no, actually, it gave him that sort of boost of energy to go, I need to be back driving again.
It's interesting hearing you talk about these drivers, because I know you know them all and you've raced them. But like, in your opinion, both of your opinions, if the whole grid was in the exact same car, who
It's
would
so
be
hard
the
to do
quickest
this.
three? Like, who
Classic
do you think
question.
would be the quickest three? For me, I'll
Go
go.
on.
I would say it would go Lewis, Charles, and Max as a three.
where's Alonso?
Not there.
You're an
Not there,
Alonso
Yeah.
boy.
I think
Yeah.
he's very quick, but for me, I think Charles shows he's very quick over one lap because he can pull it out of a Ferrari that's slower than a.
I heard someone say Esteban Ocon said you put everyone in the same car and it's 2/10 between all of them.
See, it's hard to say that. I
hard
don't
to say.
quite believe that, because
No,
you
I
see
don't.
the difference between 2 guys in the same car, and sometimes it's much more than that.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
I
You-
would.
You only have to
I'd
look
say
at
6, 7
Albon
temps.
and Gasly when they got that opportunity. Didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, they were miles.
They were
miles off.
blown away.
Yeah, by
blown
Max.
in the same car.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it's going to be more than 2/10.
I'd say 6, 7 temps, I reckon, across the
I
whole field.
would probably say there or thereabouts.
In the same car.
I would see from, top
Which is
to-
still a lot
top to
closer
bottom.
than it is
Yeah.
in what
Yeah.
they've got now. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Top
your
3?
question, top 3. Now, as
We're
we
terrible
are
at
today,
predictions, by
No,
the way.
Yeah.
So are we.
we do this on
We're
our
gonna get-
podcast. We're useless.
Stop being negative. We're brilliant. We're great. Just unlucky.
All right. You go first, then. Come
I'm
on,
going
big
to
dog.
go. I'm going to do it purely on what we have today, and I'm going to go Max,
Okay.
and I'm probably then going to go. George.
Okay.
Now third is and I agree with you with Charles. He's blisteringly quick on the one lap, but it's the rest of it where at
Yeah.
the moment it's still a bit, because I'm trying to do it the complete package.
Yeah.
Complete
The
package.
complete package.
Don't look at me, mate.
I
Come
know.
on, you said that you're amazing at these predictions.
Well, I'm going to probably at this present time, once again, I'm going to throw Fernando there
Yeah.
for that third.
I'll get down with that. Yeah.
Next, Fernando George. Okay. No Lewis Hamilton.
That's questionable.
I
That
guess
is
it's
questionable.
It's a hard question.
Now,
It's a hard question.
he's achieved what he's achieved, and he's achieved some brilliant stuff, as we know. 7 World Championships.
Yeah.
Should have been 8, but it's 7.
So you're saying
But
he's
things,
past it then,
things
aren't you?
move up. It happens.
what you're saying.
It happens. And again,
Cut the bullshit.
I-
Saying you're
He's
past
saying
it.
Lewis-
it does happen, and there is a new changing of the guard. There is the Max. We know what Max is
Yeah.
able to do.
Yeah.
Now we see what George is able to do. Mr. Saturday is turning into Mr. Saturday and Mr. Sunday as well, because he's sort of effectively, isn't he, outpacing Lewis. You know, Lewis is, said he's not comfortable and everything else, but he's still being outpaced by his team, and it happens. It's happened to the best in the world of Formula One, where they just sort of get to the top of your game. Well, you can't go any higher.
Yeah.
And even if you stop at the plateau, the next generation come in, and it's happened for decades. They're better than the last, more complete than the last,
Yeah.
mentally stronger than the last. And I think that is what we're seeing from Max and George, for example.
I really like George. I was teammates with him in karting, but don't think I can put him in there above Lewis. Not
Okay.
on their day in the same equipment. I still think Lewis, if he's firing at all
I'm not
cylinders,
saying
is
he's rubbish. I'm not saying he's finished.
all
He's
right,
not
okay.
finished. He's not finished. But I think there is just this,
Yeah.
at this present time, and George is proving that he's
He
quicker.
has. He really has.
He
Yeah.
has.
I'm saying
has.
Max. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Lewis. It's the third one, isn't it? That's the difficult one. There's Charles, Alonso,
George.
What about Lando?
George,
Yeah, I wonder
Lando.
thoughts on
Yeah.
Lando.
But you can't put George third because he's faster than Lewis at the moment.
Well, why? They could be second and third. They could be
Yeah,
first
but you
and
can't
second.
put him behind.
Tell me what I can and can't do, mate. Getting bossy with this.
Lift the lid podcast.
Fireworks. Do you know what? Actually, yeah, for that, yeah, George is going in there. yeah, Max, George, Lewis.
Oh, okay.
2 Brits, come on.
Okay. Not bad. Not bad.
What about you, Fab? Alonso top?
Yeah, Alonso top for me. I actually do think Lando's quick. I do.
Lando's
Yes.
worth a mention.
Yes,
I'll
definitely
give
so.
you that. I know we haven't put him in our top 3,
Yeah.
but,
Yes.
you know.
I agree.
And I mean, I only say that because we went karting with him, and I had to wait a whole lap for him to come catch me up because I was so far behind. so I was trundling along. I thought, fuck it,
I just wanted to race Lando.
we've got
so
one
he's
lap
waiting on the
left.
side
If I
of the
don't
track.
go at least side by side with him for half a second, then I've
Yes,
missed my
at
opportunity.
Did you fire him off? Did you give him
Yeah, I
a
was going
little...
to say, cut him up the side.
Well, it was me.
You'd
It
get
was
in there a
me,
bit.
Lando, Clem Novelak,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and maybe James Harvey Blair as well.
Yeah.
And,
Are we 4 abreast at the moment?
yeah, no, it was. It really was. And for a moment, it was like a surreal moment. I thought, fuck, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And
Did you
then
look
never gone.
across and go, oh, that's Lando Norris, and then miss your breaking point?
Yeah,
Excellent.
pretty much.
Straight
Yeah.
on. Oh, God.
But you watch it on TV and you don't really, you just think, they're pros, whatever. But until you're actually on track, and I know it was only go-karting, but you realise how quick they are,
Yeah.
how quick you boys are. I mean, do you know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah,
I'm
that's
sat
only
opposite two of you.
go-karting, but you on your latest pod, you were talking about Brad Pitt in the F2 car, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, how on earth do you think he's going to find that? Like, how easy would it be to step into like a car like that and just learn it for a movie?
Well, one thing I don't know, and this is what we sort of discussed, I don't really know if he's a bit of a petrol head or not. If he was a petrol head, I think he'd find it a lot easier. If he's not a petrol head,
If he's
it's
never
gonna
done
be-
anything on
he's
track
never done anything
before,
like that.
he's in
Yes.
for a rude awakening.
A very, very
It's gonna
rude
be-
awakening.
Yeah.
It's going to
Carnage.
be rather fast. It's all going to be happening so damn
Yeah.
quick, and his brain is just not going to be up to speed. You give him probably a couple of days, and he'll speed up to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there is sort of a background with him. I don't think there is. I know.
No, I don't know.
Tom Cruise,
No.
there is.
Exactly.
He's
and
done it.
that
He's
is
done it
where he
before.
was
Apparently,
able
he
to
was
jump
quite
in
impressive
it. Yeah.
for like a complete newbie because
Yeah.
I work with David Coulthard on Channel 4 stuff, and he
Right.
was there that day that Tom jumped in.
that's right.
I think it was a Red Bull car, and he said that.
When was that? Was that recently?
No, it was
No,
a
it
few
was about
years ago
4,
now, maybe
I think.
2013,
Yeah, something like
14,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Something like
But
that.
he said that he was really good at like just basically taking on information and then like going out and actually doing what he
Yeah.
was told, sort of thing, that would make him faster.
Yeah.
Because he likes bikes and cars. His brain
Yeah,
is sort
yeah,
of
And he's nuts
automatically
because he does all
there.
those
He does
mad
the
Yeah, well, there you
stunts.
go.
You know what I mean? You've got to have a little
Yeah.
bit of a screw loose, I
exactly.
think.
Yeah. Brad's quite cool. So he's going to get in it and sort of be, very relaxed. And maybe that's where he'd be coming out with his eyes on stalks.
He's going to
Yeah.
be quite switched on enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
It'd be interesting to see. But I would think it's going to be difficult.
They do the F4 day at Silverstone, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what we want to
spoke
do.
about. We want to give it a go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can get into some F4
Have
cars,
you done
yeah.
any track stuff, you
Never.
boys?
Oh,
Well,
actually,
you have done a little bit. You have
yes,
done a little bit.
we went to we got invited by BMW to go to this track day at Brands Hatch.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was full of actual like older guys that loved racing. Like they all did racing on the weekends or whatever. I have never
Proper
driven another
man's
car.
man. Like, yeah, lovely motors. And then there's Jake.
Yeah, and then there's me. I've only ever driven my car, and I'm driving like an electric BMW and another BMW around the track and that. And it was time trials, and I fucking won.
No.
I actually won, and I'd never drove another car anywhere. And it
It's all
was
that, it's all that
Yeah,
practice on the sim you've been
He's
doing.
all
That's
right.
what it is.
No, he's alluded to it. They're all old.
That's what it was.
Alluded to it already.
I won
They're all
myself
in
a
their
backpack.
90s.
No, I would love to get out and do a track day at some point though.
Yeah.
Gotta
you
be
should
done.
do, Definitely.
We want to eventually try and make the leaderboard actually, well,
On
in
a
cars,
track.
well, on track. But that costs money. So it's a lot cheaper to do it here.
It's funny actually what we were chatting about, put everyone in the same car, because that's, essentially what we're doing on a
Yes,
smaller scale
absolutely.
here is all these people, and they're not all drivers. Mikey Brown, engineer for...
I was just
Aston
thinking more me
Martin.
and you being on there.
yeah, as well. But it is quite
How many
cool to
laps
see
did
that.
you boys do to get them times down?
Hundreds.
Thousands.
You're only,
Thousands.
you're,
He's not
you're
hundreds.
only a couple seconds off. That's pretty
No,
impressive.
not bad.
The truth was, we got this board literally like a couple of hours before Oscar come to the flat. We had Oscar come in, and he was the first person to ever set a time. But
Oh,
we had
straight on.
we had to set ours first. So we had like 10 minutes
Yeah,
to
we had
quickly
3
do
laps
a
each.
time.
I'm not buying that. You had
Well,
10 minutes between you.
Well, he was first on.
Yeah.
Well, the tyres are old now, so that's
Yeah,
why no one
facts.
can get there now.
Get some
He had
new
the fresh
backs on
tyres.
Billy, you said you were racing with Yuki after your crash.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because didn't you get back in a car 3 months after your crash?
Yeah,
and it
at
wasn't
Brands Hatch.
a single seater, obviously.
No, it wasn't. It was a Fun Cup car, VW Beetle Fun Cup car, and it was with a team called Mission Motorsport and Team Brit. So basically, they set up a charity for veterans if they had like injuries, if that was like mental or physical, like me, like a double amputee, for example. They could basically get involved with the race team, either behind the wheel or learn how to be a mechanic
good
in
what
order
they've
to
done.
get them
Yeah.
back into sort
Really
of
good.
normal life after having stuff like that. So basically, when I had my accident, it was about 11 weeks afterwards, they said, do you want to come down to Brands Hatch and have a go in the car? It was all hand control.
11 weeks?
Yeah, so it was completely different. I was in hospital for about 5. Yeah, so about a month and a half after I came out of hospital. I think I still had... So I had like 40 staples still in my left leg, and I was like, yeah, I'll come down and have a go. So that was at Brands Hatch. I literally jumped in, never driven this car before, so it's all hand controls. So I remember the first sort of 2 or 3 laps driving out of the pits, trying to figure, that's the throttle brake. Oh, I've missed a gear and all that. It was all like completely different, because since I was 6, I've been just driving the normal way. And it took me about 5 laps of being pretty nervous and fearful and thinking, what's going on here, Bill? You don't know what you're doing on a racetrack. That feels like weird, because that's normally where I'm like comfortable and in my zone.
Yeah.
And then I got back into the swing with it and got my license back on that day, my race license, which was cool.
You got an amazing family as well.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
one thing I've really took in from all of this. Like, your mum and dad are great, and the support you've had the whole time. And I wonder, do you still share that passion with your dad for racing now? Like, do you still talk about the racing and talk about things?
Yeah, that always we're watching the Formula One. Like, even if, like, obviously I work in Formula One now, but if I'm not working, we'll always sit down on a Sunday and watch the Grand Prix together.
Yeah.
That's just like been our thing. When I was younger, when I started properly go-karting, where I'd be away like 3 weekends a month, my mum would, so on a Thursday night, she'd have all the meals prepped for us to go away in the camper van. And it was like, that's how we did it. We stayed at the tracks in a camper van, barbecues in the evening, scooters and bikes with like my pals. So it was like, I'd say it was a really cool childhood, and that
Yeah,
it was like
amazing.
going on a mini holiday every weekend with your dad, and he was passionate about it. I loved doing it. So it was really good memories, to be fair.
Yeah, and I love your mum saying that she'd have a glass of wine after every race as soon as it was over.
Yeah.
she's great.
Classic
De-stress.
mum. A classic
Yeah.
mum. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No, they are a great family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sister as well.
bonds not too bad
Bonnie,
either.
Yeah, really good.
And also what you were saying in the doc, though, you were talking about how F4 felt like a bit of a limit for you guys. As like, because we know what it's like. Some of the people we have on the pod, and like, we know how much money is in this sport now. People
Yeah.
are coming from like families of like £500 million.
Yeah.
It's impossible to compete with half the time.
Yeah,
Like, it's just, it's just crazy for us to even understand this world, really.
Yeah, the motorsport, the numbers that are chucked around in racing are just different to any other sort of realm of life.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
any
much.
other sport, it's hard to replicate how much money you would need to get to the top. You know, my dad put it into context for me when I was like 9 or 10, and I was sort of, you know, everyone was turning up in big fancy trucks and had like 4 or 5 engines, and he was like, but if we did any other sport, if you did football, I'd buy you a new pair of football boots and a football for every time you went and kicked a ball, and it would still be cheaper than what we're doing.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
was just sat there like,
Absolutely.
yeah, okay, like it just doesn't relate from a money point of view to any other sport. But that's just kind of, it's always been like that, really. It's just one of those sports that we got into and just wanted to kind of chase that dream regardless.
Yeah.
Do you think that could change? Do you think it could be more available to people who don't have a, you know?
I mean,
Well, there were still drivers now that didn't come from money.
Well, Lewis
didn't,
But so
yeah.
is Esteban Ocon. He didn't come from
Yeah.
money at all.
Yeah.
So it still shows that talent can get through.
Yeah.
And then there's always this thing about pay drivers.
Yeah.
that come- But there's always been pay drivers. Nicky Lauda was a pay driver. Mika Hakkinen was a pay driver. Michael Schumacher, Ralf Schumacher, they were pay drivers when they first came in. So it's not new. And I'm not sure it will ever disappear, because there's always a team somewhere that will probably need that support. And
Yeah.
if they need that, so if you take that away, then they're going to die off as well, because they can't afford it either.
I think there's more-
It mixes it. Talent will always
Yeah, there's
shine.
more.
Yeah.
I think there's more
Always shine.
series like lower down which are starting to give people opportunity.
Yeah.
Like you did have the last couple of years W Series, which was kind of, you know, doing stuff for getting girls into and women into racing. You know, they were giving them opportunities with, you know, free seats to go and prove what they can do. So it seems like there's a few more like initiatives like that you know give people a chance. But again, even with that, it's just still in general it's expensive. So, but like Johnny said, equally, if you're good from a young age and you can prove how good you are, that there can be people out there that will take that gamble.
You'll get
on
discovered
you.
now.
Yeah,
With
Well,
stuff
it just gets
online,
harder.
yeah.
That's all it is.
You know, when I was sort of coming through, there wasn't a Red Bull type of car. It wasn't a Ferrari.
Yeah.
car. It wasn't there was none of that. There wasn't any scouting as such going on. But as time has gone on, it's given, especially like through the Red Bull program. How many drivers have gone through that?
Yeah, a
there are a lot of drivers that have gone through that. Some have done very well. Some have got dropped very early on. But that's part and parcel of life in motorsport, I suppose. You know, they're not all going to be Max Verstappen's
Yeah.
or Lewis Hamilton's. It
course,
just
yeah.
can't happen like that. So there are, in some ways, more opportunities because they do get picked up by the teams in their younger days, even karting. It started happening as well. So the big issue still is the cost of the whole thing. If you don't get picked up,
That's the one thing that's probably going up as well. You know, from when Johnny did sort of the equivalent of Formula 3, the cost that would have been attached then to
it was
what
150,000. That's what it
which
cost.
now
when it
you're
was with Eddie
talking
Jordan.
millions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Formula 3
Million
is what,
plus.
800, 900?
Probably more.
There you go.
F2
So
is what,
Formula 3,
two
but
and
it
a
was
half
100
years,
isn't it?
What's
But it was
F4?
150,000 when I
Is
did it.
F4 now?
50,000.
150,000.
I'd
When
say
now it's
F4's
800.
maybe like
Oh, wow.
Mental.
400,
Mental.
500 maybe.
That's like a dream for us. Not for us to race. We want to like get someone in a seat somehow.
Yeah.
And it'd be like a pit stop thing. But I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how we're going to do it.
Dream big, bros. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Oh, we're dreaming. I want to be on the radio.
Get the balaclavas
Yeah, that
out,
used to
boys.
be easy. That used to be easy.
Yeah,
It's
even
not
that's
easy anymore.
hard
Even
now.
that's hard now.
It's cool talking about W Series because now, you know, obviously that's disappeared now, but we've got, you know, F1 Academy
Yeah.
coming up. What's your thoughts on that?
Again, I was obviously involved in W Series, did some of the commentary and stuff like that, and it was a good, like I say, good championship, good initiative to get, you know, women into racing. And it seems like F1 have sort of grabbed off the back of W Series and have doing their own thing now. So I think obviously this year it feels a little bit maybe slightly distant because it's not on the Formula
Yeah,
1
yeah.
weekends, but we already know that down the line that's going to be a reality. They'll be back on the Formula 1 weekends again, but still.
Is that true? Is it that?
Yeah,
will
I
happen, you
think it's just inevitable that they'll be back on
Yeah,
the Formula 1
definitely.
weekends sooner rather than later. I think
Yeah.
first year of the championship, they just wanted to basically get it up and running.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. You know, again, I don't see yet someone that they can pick and give an F1 seat. Not yet. It's going to take a little bit of time for the whole thing to happen, to find the right female who's got all the ingredients that you need. So, but the help is there now. It was
Yeah.
much more difficult before, but I think it's a good thing for sure. So, but it would still be a little bit of time before we get the whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just tough, isn't it? It's that motorsport has been a male-dominated sport for so long that you're not going to just start something like that up and find someone who ticks all the
of course
boxes.
not.
It's going to be, maybe a couple, decades down the line, or maybe not that much, maybe 1 decade down the line,
Sure.
6-7 years,
Yeah.
and then someone will come and tick all those boxes. But I think for the time being, at least it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There probably is someone out there who is completely ready for it, but doesn't even know. They don't even know it yet.
No,
but the fact that F1 Academy is now out there, it's now more available to them. They will do it, whereas maybe before they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure. And again, it would just give them that sort of start support mechanism that sort of wasn't there before. But of course, there's always going to be a point whenever they do sort of pick their pool of drivers that they have to go against the best in F2, for example, and maybe F2, F3, but probably into F2, and then that's where you're either shine or not. But that goes both sides.
So would it be F1 Academy into F1 straight away? Would they have to go through the F3?
You'd have to, to me, you'd have to go through that sort of.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
formulas
think
as well.
that's
You
the way they've
can't-
got it mapped out,
you
is
can't
that
jump
F1
ahead.
Academy then puts you into F3
Yeah.
if you
Right.
do well in
That's
that,
right.
which
And
then
then
you can
F2.
prove yourself
Yeah.
F2. So I think it's almost like an F4 sort of level championship. I mean, I think it's an F4 car
Yeah.
as such.
Yeah.
So in terms of the speed, so that's what it is. It's sort of F4, but giving those women opportunity, and the girls as well, and letting them crack on and then prove it in F3 and F2 as well if they can.
Yeah.
You said you're going to 11 races this year.
Yeah.
Monaco's your next one. You're in Monaco as well.
Yeah.
What is so what are you doing now? Like away from the pod and everything. What keeps you busy? Because you were Sky.
Yes, I was very true.
So what do you work on now?
So not do very much of that anymore. It's just there's other. It's like anything. There are other things outside the bubble of TV that come up in ways that you never really gave it any thought. So it's just different ingredients with. Got a friend in Formula E. There may be something sort of will come up with the Formula E, for example. I'm still going to Monaco and Silverstone, probably Vegas and a few other races where I'll be doing just sort of hospitality type sort of chats and talks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are still things that are still important for me and enjoyable from that point of view. I miss the TV bit. I don't miss the TV bit. I've moved on from that.
But I think it's almost better what you do now because you've got a great personality and like you speak well about things. But right now you have the show together, which gives you a platform to talk about things like, well, without limit. Basically, you can talk. You can say what you want.
Well, that's where Lift the Lid's been great for us because we can have a discussion about it.
We wanted to do
openly
something
and
where it was like the chats I would have with my mates on a Monday night, sort of, after a race weekend. I'd fly back on a Monday and go and see my mates down at like the local pub, and if they wanted to ask me about F1 and just have a chat, that's kind of what we wanted to make Lift the Lid like. It was like a little debrief from the weekend of what went on, and kind of hopefully give something of value to people listening.
Yeah, and not be sort of scared to be careful what you say when you're sort of
Just
doing
an
the
honest
TV
debrief.
because it's just an honest.
Yeah, like pub chat's the best.
I think that pub chat is beautiful because I think everyone does it, but you don't really see that format on TV. So it must be refreshing for you boys and especially you, Johnny, to feel like you maybe got less rules on sort of what you can say or how you say it in a way.
Well, I think I always found sometimes you have to sort of tread a little bit careful because if you're sort of very outspoken, of course, someone will always get upset. But if it's the truth, they can't really sort of say, well, you shouldn't say that because of X, Y, and Z. You sort of go, no, well, that's what the truth is. There was all that shenanigans with Ted Gravitz and Max just because Ted had sort of said Lewis was robbed. And he got all upset. And you go, well, he did. You did nothing wrong, Max.
Yeah.
But he's still getting upset about things like that. And then he didn't want to talk to Sky for that. And you sort of go, well, that's ridiculous. You can't control a truth. Just a truth that was being spoken. So there are certain things I know that teams can be sensitive if you say something negative about the team, about pit stops. I remember last year with Ferrari making all the little errors that they made. But then when you bring them up they all get a bit upset that you've brought them up. You go, yeah, but that's what happened.
I mean, everyone
You can't
knows.
shy away
Everyone
from
at
it.
home knows kind of what's happened.
You know,
Yeah.
there were occasions, and I think I said it once in France last year. It was embarrassing, and they didn't like. I'd use the words embarrassing. But
Right.
it was embarrassing. You can't. How else do you sort of go around that situation they found themselves in? Not once, twice, 3 times. It was quite a few times during the season.
I think it's hard
So
with
it's quite
TV
hard.
because when you're on the wrong end of it, if you're a driver or a team, you feel like everyone's against you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
feel like, they're all talking about what the mistake I made. I don't want to talk to any of them. They're all like against me. But equally, when they're winning Grand Prix, then they want to talk to you all
Yeah,
the time
yeah,
because
they
they want to
sure.
be like,
Yeah, it goes the other
tell
way.
me how good I am and what a good job I did. So it goes
Yeah.
both ways. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
You're never going to please everyone all the time
No, of course
because
you're
someone's had a good day, someone's had a bad day, and you've got to kind of speak the truth around that.
Yeah, and if you do a race fan, for example, you might say when it was sort of Max and Lewis, you might say, and Lewis did a fantastic job this weekend. You get criticised by the Max fans. Then you'll say Max did a brilliant job this weekend, winning the race and everything else. So you get criticised from the Lewis fans. If you say they both did an amazing race today, you can still get criticised from both sides. So you can't.
You got Stroll
you can't
fans saying,
sort
"Well,
of win." I know, so it's a difficult one, and it's like when drivers have their comings-togethers on track, and you sort of have your opinion,
Yeah, yeah.
and you try and put it in I try to sort of put it as I would think I would be thinking in the cockpit, and try and explain what happens on the racetrack itself, and in the crash they had Max and Lewis, for example, in Silverstone. And the way the rules are written nowadays, or the understanding, is if you're ahead, it's your corner. And I go, no, it's not your. If there's a car up your inside into a right-hander, well, I can't turn right because there's a car there. But he's not ahead. And you go, yes, but you haven't earned the right to have the line because the line is almost being taken away from you now. But then they try and do the rules that it's. I find it completely baffling sometimes that there are all these outside influences that should be nothing to do with what's happening in the cockpit.
Were they
with
there
those
when you were
drivers.
racing?
No.
Them influences.
No.
So that's a
We
massive
had
change.
Johnny would have
had
just
a-
turned in on someone.
Well, I would say there were probably times that, yes, that was my risk. Yeah, but that was my risk. And that was probably then a big mistake if I did that. So, but
then
you
also,
had to
if that
take
happened-
responsibility yourself.
But then also, if that happened and you did turn in someone back when you were doing it, you didn't have all the clips on social media going crazy. It might have been like
No, but you dealt with it with
Yeah.
the other driver. You had a word.
Bit of fisticuffs.
Well, you saw that with Michael.
Bring it back is what I say. That's the shit that I want to see going at it.
We've got
I
influencer boxing,
I
F1
still-
boxing's coming out soon.
I still feel the drivers should take a lot more responsibility on that stuff. You know, because all I always hear on the radio, oh, he pushed me off the circuit, oh, he leant on me and everything. Well, yes, that's what racing's all about.
Yeah.
But they try and influence the stewards or the race director to make a call. And it's like, if you go around the outside of someone, that
It's that
road
unwritten
that's
rule,
there,
isn't it,
well,
in
that road
racing?
that's there is going to disappear.
Yeah.
Because if you go around the outside of me, I'm going to make sure that there is no space.
Oh, no, you'd be
You're
in the
on
water if you went
outside.
around the outside
Yeah,
of me,
okay.
mate.
Yeah.
It's how-
Oh, it gives it. Oh, that.
Fight until-
I can't wait to see you boys on this sim.
Should we let the fight until lead us onto a
We
sim?
need two
Yeah,
of those. We need two of them so we can actually
Yes, I
race
might
each
try,
other.
I know.
Let's lead into it.
Yeah, well, should we crack on with the sim?
Yeah, we'll do the sim, then we'll sit back down and do a bit more of the pod. But yeah, let's get your laps. So you can have some practice laps, and then
Yeah.
we'll record you doing 3. We'll take the fastest time that you set, and that will make the
Well, that
board.
would be nice.
Your slowest time's going up.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, cool.
What's it like compared to the sim earlier, mate? Like it's going to happen, but if me or you go quicker than Oscar Piastri, does that mean McLaren's going to be on the blower after we come out of it?
Imagine that.
I've never seen someone so intensely looking at a screen before in
TV's
my
got a
life.
bit wonky.
Billy's giving him no advice.
He shouldn't need advice from me. He's a ex-Formula 1 driver.
It was a long time ago. I can't remember.
A long time ago. I reckon.
Whoa!
Yeah, that doesn't look right, actually. I was giving him a lot of abuse here, but... Hold on.
Wait, hang on.
Need a sweat coming off.
We haven't got a lap time yet.
Yeah, that's your warm-up.
I know, I don't want to see it. That's it, it's just adjusted his foot and the whole steering wheel went out of control. Oh,
That's
that
nice.
sounded all right,
That's
actually.
all
That
right,
sounded
that's
all
all
right. Stop cheating. Nice break, nice break.
Yes.
Had a bit of a pause there.
That's a game face. Wow.
Don't zoom in.
The jokes have stopped.
Down to 4. Focus. 7, accelerating out. 3, 5.
Right, how do you think you both did?
Honest?
Yep.
If I'm not last, and if I'm better than Johnny, I'll be buzzing.
Like most of my career, I didn't hook it all up.
Same here. Same excuse. Racing driver
I don't
excuses
know.
are coming out.
I'm not feeling too confident.
I'd like to think I was in 1 minute 7 territory, I think.
Okay.
I'd be happy with that.
If I did a 158, I'd be happy.
Top dog. Johnny's top or he's going home.
Oh,
Did you see that?
no.
Didn't.
Right, you're not going to say yes. Right, I have two times here.
Obviously, I didn't see it.
Right, Billy,
Yes.
we'll do your one first.
Oh, God, that's not good.
No, that is good.
Oh, okay. Billy, you have done the pit stop fastest lap in a 1 minute 7
Nice.
Nice.
1:12. Oh, so we're going right here, which is very good because Matt is fucking quick and he uses a sim every day.
Every day, there you go.
So that
Yeah.
is
Good job.
actually very quick.
I
Good
will
job.
Take that.
Johnny,
I'm feeling ill.
Well,
I'm
I
feeling
said I would
very ill
take-
now.
okay.
So,
I read everything.
John, are you reassessing where you want to be now? Seeing I've done a 107.1, are you like 105.8 still
well,
achievable?
I think when I said the 105.8, I just think I got the 8 and the 5 the wrong way round.
108.5. 108.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'll say this:
Yes.
you haven't beaten Fab,
Yes! It means I'm better than you as well.
but have you beaten me?
Oh,
For the,
Oh my
for the
lord.
place on the
Oh my
lap.
lord.
The last place on pit stop
I'm gonna
fastest lap.
base it on that comment. It didn't go quite as well as I was expecting.
Johnny, you can't be last, mate.
Things don't like me. These things.
These
Sims do
No,
fight
I've
against
got
me.
faith in you, Johnny. I reckon
Go
you'll be
on then.
above Jake.
Go on.
Johnny, you've won the pit stop fastest lap in a 107.
Yes! You're not last.
996. You're not last. I'm still last. Fuck my life. Well done. Congratulations.
Well done, Billy. Well done, Billy. What can I say?
Sorry,
What can I
Johnny,
say?
but you know, top dog over here is now, didn't you?
Still the only one who's won the British Grand Prix, Johnny.
There is an element of that.
Oi,
there
shut
is
you.
there is an element of that. And Billy, congratulations for someone
Do we get a
who
handshake?
hasn't got
Handshake?
any legs, and I've got 2 legs with 2 ankles. You beat me big time.
Not bad, eh? For a semi-retired racing driver.
Still got it.
I feel sick.
That last lap really saved me, guys. I generally
it
think
did, yes.
the lap before that,
So. What was it before?
I was in Johnny territory, I think.
Yeah, you were.
You
were.
The last
Yeah.
lap saved you. Damn. Yeah, I'm absolutely gutted about that.
I'm not surprised.
One day I won't be last though.
I got to say, it's mad because you were having to move your leg
Yes.
back on the brake.
Yeah,
up,
this
back on.
I've got all the excuses lined up already, but yeah, I would never drive I didn't drive in a racing car with that left leg. I actually braked with this leg, and then my hand was on a throttle. It was on a paddle behind my steering wheel.
Oh, right.
So all my controls are different. So that's
I actually offered that to you. I did say we could change it.
You did
and
offer
you didn't want it. You didn't
the,
want it.
the custom pit stop setup, but yeah, I thought I'd just stick with the conventional for an excuse more than anything.
yeah.
But I didn't need it.
The good thing about this result that
Yeah.
we got today, on Lift the Lid that we did a little bit earlier on,
Yeah,
I won that one. Well, 1-1.
1-1 on the Sims.
We did a shootout.
All right.
We did a
Yeah.
shootout.
Ooh, I think I've dominated there, mate. That's 0.8 of a second.
Yes.
Earlier it was 0.2, so I've just warmed up.
I had a radio. You didn't get this. I had a radio communication on my best lap, just to say that the engine had lost a bit of turbo pressure.
See what I have to
They did.
deal with.
They did. It's true. It's true.
Lads,
Well done.
thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Pleasure.
It's been mega.
That is great. What a great episode. I can't wait to keep listening to your podcast and see what you guys get up to this year. We'll follow everything. Hopefully see you around. Would love to go for a round of golf or something.
Definitely.
Well-
Johnny, get the clubs out, mate. Dust them off.
I'm not going anywhere near a golf course. I'm not leaving your apartment. I'm staying on that until I beat Billy.
I've got a spare room.
The sofa will be fine.
Just give him the balcony.
Yeah, on the balcony.
I'll be fine with that. We'll actually drag the whole thing outside. I have my own little room.
I've got to
it's been
say,
a
lads,
pleasure.
on a level, and I need to say this about getting a bit emotional, but you know, we've been blessed to have the guests that we've had on.
Yeah.
But to have, like, you know, you two in particular sat down here, you're both inspirational, and you know, like I said to you earlier, my dad's been watching you on TV forever, and me as a little boy, and it's mad to have these two people in the flat. So yeah,
Yeah,
Thanks
cheers
for
for
having
coming.
us.
We
Thanks
really
for having us.
Really good.
Mega.
Thank you very much for listening to the Pitstop podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye. Bye-bye.
Mega.
that's it.
Lift the lid.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Oh, mate.
Let's get some air in it.
We did get a bit of
Thank you, that is great.